Hey everybody, welcome to In the Red Zone. I'm Mike. This is Shaun. Time for Week 7 picks for college football. We're going to get into this. We're going to pick our games first for our teams, and then we'll go to rapid picks, and then we'll go to more in-depth for the closer games we think are going to be pretty interesting for college football this week. So we're going to start off Red River Rivalry, Oklahoma, Texas, and neutral field, Cotton Bowl. If you're not familiar with this game, it's always usually close every year. It's first year for Tom Herman, first year for Lincoln Riley. Shaun, this is your team. What do you think is going to happen?
Man, before this last week, I would have told you that OU would go in there and just win convincingly. But I don't think that's the case. It's never really the case. We've seen years that Oklahoma and Texas go in evenly matched and one team gets a blowout win. We've seen years where Oklahoma looks like they should be the heavy favorite. You know, the point spread is crazy and Texas comes in and wins. We've seen the other way around where Texas is supposed to be a lot better and Oklahoma goes in and wins. This game scares me right now. It really does. Last year, you know, it was 45-40, and even though Oklahoma played better, I felt like they were definitely the better team. You know, the year before that they lost. The year before that they should have lost and ended up getting a win off of a pick six from the defense and then a kick return for a touchdown. So special teams and defense won that one. That's a lot of these years. That's kind of how it shakes out. So I'm going to pick Oklahoma in this. You know, I have thought about it quite a bit, but with this loss, usually, you know, Baker Mayfield has never lost 2 games in a row. You know, and Lincoln Riley has been his offensive coordinator since he's been here. So you got to say that Lincoln Riley, as an OC, is you know, has never lost 2 games in a row. So I'm going to pick Oklahoma. I think that, you know, Texas getting that tough win over Kansas State, you know, they're going to be feeling pretty good about themselves, and OU's going to be feeling pretty down about themselves. And we tend to see what happens when OU feels like maybe the underdog. There's going to be I think there are going to be a lot of people that pick Texas to win this game. And I really hope that OU hears every single one of those picks, because when they do and they hear people picking against them, they tend to come out and play a lot better. So I'm going to pick OU after a week of those guys being told that they're no good.
You know, last week I picked Texas to beat Kansas State. Everybody was picking Kansas State. I picked Texas because of their defense. Texas is going to sell out this week because they have they are not playing for the playoffs. They can't get in. All they can do is play spoiler. I do believe they have a really good defense, but I don't think they are going to be able to pull it off this week. I'm picking Oklahoma, but I think Baker Mayfield's going to be ready to play because if Oklahoma loses, they're done as far as playoffs are concerned. So they have to win this game. They have to pretty much win out. I think that they'll be ready. I don't think they'll lose. Now, I think this is going to be very close. It's not going to be a blowout. Within 9 points, I think, would be my pick. But I think Oklahoma does pull it out. If I were picking against the spread, I don't know what I would do. I don't even know what the spread is. But yeah, I'm going to pick Oklahoma in this one. I just think they bounce back. I think they pull out the win. It will be close. And then they can move on from there because they still have a tough schedule. They have the toughest part of the Big 12 is still ahead of them. So they have to get it done, and I think there's going to be a renewed sense of focus this week against Texas. So. And
I don't think this has been a week that they would look past. You know, maybe the Baylor week, maybe the Iowa State week, but and I'll do a recap of this last week and kind of give some notes on what I've seen from some insider sources from Oklahoma, what they're saying, the coaches are saying. But I do not think that this would be a week that they would ever look past. I didn't think that 2 years ago, and they got beat. So we'll see. Hopefully they just come out with a lot of energy. And they, you know, last year after the Texas Tech game, Jordan Evans, our linebacker who graduated last year, said his dad sat him down after that game and gave him kind of a come to Jesus moment, and you know, told him in which ways he needed to play better and. Just kind of gave him a renewed energy and stuff. So I'm really hoping that some moms and dads are sitting their kids down right now and kind of telling them, for a lot of the seniors, this is your money year. This is the year that you try to go make, the NFL. And Jordan Thomas, I'm looking at you. We'll see. They have to play better on defense, or else they're gonna let another freshman quarterback throw it all over the place.
They definitely have got to shore up their defense this week. They've got some holes there. They got to fix. The good news is that Texas's offense hasn't been playing that great.
Yeah.
So there's that. But Texas's defense, I think, can hold Oklahoma under 30 points. So that being said, Oklahoma's defense is going to have to step up and shut down Texas as well. So that's our picks. We both take Oklahoma in that one. So we're going to move on now to Ohio State at Nebraska. This one is primetime on Fox. It seems like almost all the Ohio State games are primetime anymore. So the Buckeyes looked really good against Maryland. They looked really good against Rutgers. It's not that great a competition. Maryland, though, had beat Texas. They'd only had one loss coming into this game, but they're on their third quarterback. I mean, and
they're pretty beat up.
They were really beat up. But Ohio State was firing on all cylinders.
Yeah.
They looked really good. I'm taking Ohio State in this one, but Nebraska, it's in Lincoln. It's in prime time. Lights are on. They're going to be fired up.
Yeah.
This is their biggest game of the year, except maybe Wisconsin. So they're going to be ready to play. It's going to be a test. It's not the test. I've been saying we're going to find out what happens when we play Penn State. That's the game. But for now, this is Nebraska. It's better than any competition we've had in the last 3 weeks. I'm still picking Ohio State probably by 10, but wouldn't surprise me if Nebraska isn't leading at halftime, because we are a second half team. So even in the third quarter, into the third quarter, if it's close, it won't surprise me, but I think we pull it out in the end.
Yeah. JT Barrett's making those throws that he wasn't making earlier on in the year. So, you beat Maryland 62 to
7 or something like that.
I mean,
14.
That's pretty impressive, because Maryland as a whole is a decent team. I know you said they're on their third quarterback, but again, that same offense put up 50-plus points on Texas.
They did, yeah.
So you got to think that they're kind of figuring some things out, and I'm taking Ohio State in that game, just because more than Ohio State struggling, I just think that Nebraska's not really there yet.
Yeah, I would agree. Okay, next we're moving into rapid fire. These are our quick picks. We'll just give you a pick and that's it. Ohio at Bowling Green.
Yeah, I got Ohio.
I'm going to take Ohio. They lost last week to Central Michigan, which surprised me, but I'll take the Bobcats. Clemson at Syracuse.
Clemson.
I'm going to surprise everybody and say Syracuse pulls the biggest upset of all.
You think that's the upset?
I picked Syracuse to win last week, and nobody else was really picking them as well. Syracuse just does something at home, and with Clemson, their quarterback got hurt. He may be in, maybe out. But this one I think could be the shocker in college football this week, so I'm going to take Syracuse.
Okay.
Washington State at Cal.
I got Washington State. They're moving on all cylinders right now. They're rolling.
I'll take Washington State as well. Michigan at Indiana. Michigan coming off that loss.
Yeah, I got Michigan in that one, even though Indiana's got the really good quarterback and then that really good wide receiver. But Michigan's going to be looked to reclaim some, bad feelings there.
Yeah.
That losing.
A lot of people were surprised that Michigan State pulled off that win.
Yeah.
I picked Michigan, but I wasn't surprised Michigan State won. I'm going to go shocker here and pick Indiana. It's at Indiana. I think that'll be two in a row for Michigan, and they start hitting the panic button in Ann Arbor. So I'm going to take Indiana. Florida State at Duke.
Yeah, I'm going to take Florida State. I just think at some point they've got to start figuring it out, and I don't know that Duke is that great. So, no offense to any Duke fans out there, but they're not really a football school. So, they have had really good teams in the past, but I just think Florida State will be too much for them.
I was surprised that Florida State was able to stay with Miami as close as they did. So, I'll take Florida State in this one. NC State at Pitt.
I got NC State. They're just moving.
NC State here as well. Boston College at Louisville.
Got Louisville.
I'll take Louisville. Vanderbilt at Ole Miss.
I got Vanderbilt in that one.
I'm going to take Vanderbilt as well. Northwestern at Maryland.
Got Maryland.
Yeah, they're pretty banged up, but they still, I think, can get it done at home. So I'll take Maryland as well. I like Northwestern, but I'll take Maryland.
Yeah.
I lost my track here. Let's see. Houston at Tulsa.
I'm sorry to the in-state rivals, the Turnpike rivals there, but I got to pick Houston.
Yeah, I think Houston's going to be too much for Tulsa. Arkansas at Alabama. Do we even need to pick this one?
Alabama.
Alabama all day.
Sorry, family.
When are they going to fire Bielema? That's what we should be talking about. Missouri at Georgia.
At Georgia.
Georgia as well. Missouri just, they're not anywhere near what they used to be. Cincinnati at USF.
Got USF.
Take USF as well. Washington at Arizona State.
I got Washington.
I think this one's going to be a lot closer than people think, but I'll take Washington as well. Arizona State plays pretty well at home. Baylor at Oklahoma State.
I got Oklahoma State.
This one probably a huge shootout. I'll take Oklahoma State as well. TCU at Kansas State.
I got TCU in that one.
Yeah, I think Kansas State is at some point going to bounce back against somebody, but I don't know if it's going to be against TCU, so I'll take TCU. Okay, so that's rapid fire. So now we're going to go talk a little bit more about these next picks because these are the games we think could be the close games this week and could be a toss-up. Georgia Tech at Miami.
I've got Miami in that one, and shout out to our couple of our commenters that felt like I was kind of throwing some shade at Miami. That wasn't the case. I just, I've been watching Florida State, for a couple of years, just kind of keeping an eye on what they're doing, and to me it was just, it wasn't sad, but I felt bad for the fan base that their team just kind of lost everything basically, and I know Miami's, they've also been affected by the hurricanes and everywhere. So our prayers go out to those people in Florida, but it was not a diss on Miami. Yeah. So I've got Miami in this game, and not regrettably. So look for Miami to take care of Georgia Tech there.
Miami slowly moving up the ranks. I think Miami also wins this one. I really like Miami. I like Mark Richt. I like everything he's doing at Miami.
Yeah.
But Georgia Tech's one of those schools where they're probably never going to be in contender for the college football playoff.
But they sneak up on somebody.
They sneak up on people, and I just like watching them. They're fun to watch. So, but I think Miami's going to be too much for them. South Carolina at Tennessee. Boy, I mean, problems at Tennessee.
Yeah.
South Carolina, they lost to Kentucky early on. I thought maybe they're not very good, but they've been rattling off wins. They look pretty strong in the SEC.
Yeah.
This game, man, I don't know.
I'm going to take Tennessee. They're the home team, and Neyland Stadium always gets loud. We'll see if it continues to be loud with Butch Jones. If he keeps losing, or if that team keeps losing games, we'll see how much longer he stays. But I've got them win another one because
Yeah.
I don't know, what can you do?
Well, I
really?
mean, that close game against UMass where they, at home.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm taking South Carolina. I think South Carolina is far and above better than Tennessee. Tennessee has the talent. They have the recruits. They have everything they need to be a good football team, but they're not able to put it together for whatever reason.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, but I'm going to take South Carolina in this one.
This is actually the year that, because back in the first year that Oklahoma played Tennessee at home, when they had the home and home, they were supposed to have all these, really good true freshmen that were already playing, and so this would be the year that they would have some, seniors and redshirt seniors that were supposed to be really good from a really good recruiting class, and I don't really know. You lose your quarterback to, graduating, you lose Jalen Hurd to transferring, and it kind of just starts going downhill. I don't know if they just didn't rebuild from those other years, but
Tennessee's one of those schools that I consider a blue blood, that they should be up there every single year competing, and I just don't. It's completely unacceptable. It has to be unacceptable for their fans.
Yeah.
I mean, so if they don't win out, I think Butch Jones has to be fired. He has to be. He's had a chance. He's had 5 years, but I'm taking South Carolina in this one. Texas Tech at West Virginia. West Virginia drops a heartbreaker to TCU. They were in it, had a chance to win, but TCU's just a better team. Texas Tech has been firing on all cylinders. I think they've only lost one game so far. They're putting up huge numbers on offense. So this could be a shootout. May not be a lot of defense in this game. What do you think?
I'm going to take West Virginia. It's pretty tough to go play in West Virginia. It's the furthest place that any team from the Big 12 travels. So I'm going to take West Virginia in that one, taking care of Texas Tech.
It is really got to be something for these kids at Texas Tech. They're out in the West Texas desert to go play in the mountains of West Virginia. And I've been to Morgantown several times, and it's a unique place, definitely. So, Yeah, I think I just can't imagine West Virginia losing 2 in a row. And, I thought they'd be in the Big 12 championship game. They would have to win this game and pretty much win out to have a chance at that.
Yeah.
I'm going to take West Virginia as well. I just think Will Greer is the real deal at quarterback.
Yeah.
He's shown that he's pretty good. So I'm going to take West Virginia. Auburn at LSU. This one probably would have been in the rapid fire if LSU hadn't beat Florida and turned it around. So where are we at with them?
I've got Auburn. Jarrett Stidham's starting to do some things that we thought he would do at the beginning of the year. It's just showing that it's taken a while for a quarterback to get implanted into another school and into another offense and SEC play. I mean, it's different going from the Big 12 to the SEC and seeing different styles of defenses. But, I'm not going to sit here and say that LSU beating Florida by 1 point is them turning it around.
Yeah.
I don't think that they have what it takes really to pull off the win here, so I'm gonna take Auburn in this one.
I'm going to take Auburn as well. If you remember, Auburn's loss was to Clemson, and it was a really close game. And they, like you said, Stidham hadn't hit his mark yet. They weren't gelling. If Clemson plays Auburn now, I think Auburn wins.
Yeah.
And I just think Auburn is probably one of the top 4 teams in the country, right up there with Georgia and some of the others. Great thing is these guys are going to play each other at some point.
Yeah.
But I'll take Auburn as far as this one's concerned. Purdue at Wisconsin. Purdue's unranked. Wisconsin's up there in the top 10. I think this could be a trap game for Wisconsin.
Yeah, I've got Wisconsin in this one. I just think that they're playing better than Purdue.
Yeah. Wisconsin's been kind of struggling a little bit on offense. It's their defense that's been really getting them the wins, carrying them along. And defense does win championships, so you can't discount that. I will take Wisconsin, but look for this one to be a close game that could be one of those big upsets in Week 7.
Yeah.
Navy at Memphis. Navy in the top 25 now, undefeated, rolling right along. But Memphis is a pretty good football team.
Yeah, I'm going to take Memphis in this one. They beat UCLA at home, and that crowd was crazy. So I think that Memphis will be able to, Navy's going to run the ball, 50, 60 times, and they're going to wear a lot of that clock out. But I think that Memphis is going to take care of it at home.
I'm going to take Navy. I'm going to say that Memphis's defense is not going to be able to stop that option. But what you brought up about burning clock is the key for Navy is they've got to get first downs and they've got to keep Memphis's offense off the field.
Yeah.
If they are doing 3 and outs and punting the ball, then it's probably Memphis's game. But I'm going to go out on a limb. I'm going to take Navy. I hope Navy rolls. I mean, the more they win, the better. I mean, it's great when the service academies are doing well like that. Army is doing well. It's doing pretty good this year, too. Texas A&M at Florida.
Oh man, I don't like this. I don't like this game. I was gonna pick Texas A&M, but I think I'm gonna pick Florida to kind of bounce back from the LSU loss. I think that Florida at home is a pretty tough place to play, and they're kind of evenly matched. I'm gonna take Florida in this one.
This one is really such a toss-up. I mean, you have LSU beating Florida in the swamp. You have Texas A&M playing a lot closer with Alabama than I expected.
Yeah.
Alabama had put up 59-66, and then all of a sudden they only beat Texas A&M by 9.
Yeah.
So, wow, I don't know. It's hard to imagine Florida losing 2 in a row, but I'm going to take Texas A&M. I've been on Florida all year. I thought they were going to win the SEC East. I don't see that now. It's Georgia's conference or their division to win, or to lose, I should say. So I'm going to take Texas A&M to upset Florida. Michigan State at Minnesota. Michigan State coming off a huge win against Michigan, their in-state rival, 59 miles from Ann Arbor. Minnesota dropped a heartbreaker to Purdue. They're looking to bounce back. PJ Fleck, it's his first year in Minnesota. He's been doing some really good things up there. What do you think happens with this one?
Yeah, I got Michigan State. I think getting a win against a top 10 team there is going to give you a lot of confidence. So I've got them rolling into Minnesota and getting a win.
I think much like the Michigan game, this could be a very, very close game. I'll take Michigan State as well. They're just one of those teams. They play good defense, and they just trucking along. They're like a blue collar team. They got their lunch pails and they're ready to go to work. And they're not going They're not flashy. They're not going to impress anybody, but they just managed to roll out with a win.
And they've been playing decent. I mean, they've played pretty well since the beginning of the year. It's just some of those games they just couldn't figure it out completely. But yeah, their defense has been playing incredible, and so yeah.
Well, they had the loss to Notre Dame, and Notre Dame's only had one loss, and that's to Georgia.
Yeah.
So I mean, they've been playing tough competition. UCLA at Arizona. This probably wouldn't have been on our list at the end. This would have been rapid fire, except Arizona pulls off the upset in Colorado last week. So where are we at with this one?
Yeah, I've got UCLA in this one. Josh Rosen, I believe, is the passing leader right now in yards and maybe completions. But anyway, I just think got the better quarterback, better offense, and I think UCLA is going to take care of it.
I'll take UCLA as well, just because of their offense. Arizona, I don't know a lot about Arizona, but when I do watch them when they're on really late and it's like midnight or 1 o'clock and I want to go to bed and they're still playing, and it's just like, man, they look pretty good, and they're just staying there and they're beating people. But yeah, we'll take UCLA in this one. Oregon at Stanford. Oregon just lost to Washington State. Stanford, all of a sudden, after 2 losses,
gets back into the top 25.
So, so, you know, are they going to make us look bad? Are we going to pick Stanford and they're going to lose? I mean, what do you think?
Man, since the first couple weeks, you know, we picked them in the beginning, and then they lost, and then we started not picking, and then they started winning. I'm going to say Stanford gets this one, even though, you know, Oregon's had a pretty potent offense, but I just think Bryce Love is just, man, he's coming around and really kind of showing that he deserves to be talked about there with Saquon Barkley as one of the best running backs in the country. So I've got Stanford in this one.
Yeah, I mean, when you got a running back and after the first 5 games has over 1,000 yards rushing for the year, when you've got most running backs in the country don't even reach 1,000 yards in a season, it's hard to pick against Stanford if he continues to roll like that. So, yeah, I'm going to pick Stanford as well. I mean, I hope we're not right back here next week. Like, what are we thinking?
I know. It might be us. Maybe we'll stop picking Stanford.
If Stanford loses, we're not even going to put their game on the board. We're not even going to pick them anymore. So, last game, this is the big one in primetime, Utah at USC. Utah coming off their loss to Stanford. USC, I can't remember what they did in their last game. I think they were off this past week. Were they off this week?
I don't even remember.
I think they had a bye week.
I was so just in a haze yesterday.
Yeah. So what do you think? This is the primetime game. I mean, it was really the only big game going on.
I think USC is going to see a lot. You know, Michigan, Oklahoma losing, and start thinking maybe they can start inching their way back up there. I'm going to take USC in this one. It is at USC. I'm going to take them. I've seen both teams, you know, I've seen Utah play, and I just don't think that, you know, they've got a pretty good defense and everything, but I think that USC is going to kind of turn some things around here and start getting going.
I was surprised that Utah lost to Stanford. Of course, you know, with Stanford, who knows who's going to show up.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know. I want to pick Utah, but I think it'd be crazy to pick against USC. So I think I'll just take USC.
Yeah.
I think it's a toss-up. I don't know how that one's going to go either way.
Yeah.
So any of them that stand out as a possible upset alert for you for this week?
Man, Texas at Oklahoma. No, that's I mean, Duke at Florida State. I guess I'll go with that one because they're playing at Duke, you know. Duke took care of Baylor. I'll go ahead and take as my upset alert, I'll say Duke over Florida State.
Duke over Florida State. Well, I picked Indiana over Michigan, so I won't call that an upset alert because I really think that's going to happen. I'm going to take, as my upset alert, Baylor shocking Oklahoma State in a shootout.
Now, Baylor lost their top wide receiver for the year during that Oklahoma game. They still have that Mims, or what was his name? I can't remember. I'm sure the Oklahoma guys remember. I mean, he made some huge plays, but it wouldn't be, you know, Oklahoma State still doesn't have a great elite defense. So, I mean,
they have a terrible defense.
Yeah.
So I'm going to stick with that. Even now knowing that he's out, I'm going to say that's the upset alert. Obviously, I picked Oklahoma State, but I just think this is one that I'm not going to be surprised if Baylor pulls it up, because I don't think Baylor's going to lose every game.
Yeah.
I just don't. That means they're going to beat somebody that they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And I just think this could be it. I don't believe in Oklahoma State's defense whatsoever. I think they're absolutely horrible. So, if they get in a shootout and Baylor's defense is able to make a few stops against Mason Rudolph and Hill and Washington, I mean, it could be one of those. It comes down to one or two bad possessions.
Yeah.
And, who punts or who fumbles or with turnovers. And if I were to pick which team is probably going to win the turnover battle in this, I would pick Baylor. So Oklahoma State just has a tendency to turn the ball over. So that's my upset alert. So
I mean, Baylor has pass rushers. That's for dang sure. They've got at least two guys that can get to the quarterback, and we've seen that Mason Rudolph isn't his best when he's being pressured. So,
he's not like Baker Mayfield. He can't scramble around and make a play.
Yeah.
He's sitting in the pocket. He's got to feel comfortable to make those throws.
Yeah, he reminds me a lot of Landry Jones back when Landry was here, because he would get pressure and just freeze. I know he's the all-time leading pass. Nobody's going to beat his record at Oklahoma, but you get to some quarterbacks and you get right in their face, and they kind of clam up and don't really know what to do with the ball. So that's not a crazy upset alert.
Okay. That's it for our picks for Week 7. So you've been in the Red Zone. Be sure to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, subscribe to us on YouTube. That's the most important one. So for Shaun, I'm Mike. You've been in the Red Zone. See you later.